Is it time to take the leap? That's what we're going to talk about today. Assessing your readiness to take the leap and transition from your 9 to 5. Is it time? That's what we're going to try to assess. I'm going to share some questions, some actionable steps that you can take to really assess if you're ready to go ahead and jump off that cliff. Whenever I think about taking the leap, I always think about a person standing at the edge of a cliff and they're looking down, and it's this deep, 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 deep valley. And you know for a fact, if you jump off this ledge, you are probably going to die. That's the fear of God you have standing there on that ledge. And so that's what I think about when I imagine taking the leap. Can y'all relate to that? Is that how you feel right now? Like, should I jump? Should I jump? If I jump, I might die. That's literally what comes to my mind when I think about taking the leap. Taking the leap really is going to require some crazy faith because you are going to be entering a space of the unknown. It's going to require it's going to require you moving out of your comfort zone, what you're already used to. Jumping off the ledge requires trust. It requires confidence. It requires faith. I mean, at the end of the day, it requires a ton of faith. Dr. Martin Luther King actually said that faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. I love that quote because it's like, have you ever walked up or down the stairs in the dark and you were a little hesitant to keep walking? I mean, going up the stairs or down the stairs because you couldn't see the next step. But you would step anyway because you kind of became familiar with that step and you kind of trusted that step was there. But have you ever tried to do that and missed that last step and you almost lost your everlasting life trying to get to that one little step at the bottom? It is very scary to take a step that is unseen or unfamiliar, but it gets easier once you take that first step. The next step always kind of appears. And so what we're going to talk about in today's episode is really I want to give you guys some practical steps. Really, they're questions, and some reflection questions that you can start to ask yourself to assess your readiness if you're ready. And, are you ready to really jump off this cliff and trust in the vision, in the plans that are for you and that God really is calling you to do? I don't know about you, but I'm a person of faith. And so whenever I was called to kind of transition off my job, it wasn't just because I was trying to leave my job. Like I've said this before in my podcast episodes, I actually love my job and I loved what I was doing. But at the time, God was really calling me to ministry full time. And so I knew that I needed to take this leap. I wasn't really fulfilled doing the work that I was doing in my current situation, in my current job. And I just kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer to that edge. So much so, it was almost like God pushed me off that ledge. I had to jump. And as soon as I jumped, I'm telling you guys, he caught me. It was my trust, my belief in him, my mindset. I had really prayed and really got myself ready and prepared to take that leap because I knew the day was going to come. And so that's what I want to talk about today. So even if you don't, just to go back to what Dr. Martin Luther King said about, that first step, taking the first step, even if the entire staircase is not there, even if you can't see the whole staircase, what this actually means is that you have the courage and the conviction to actually pursue your dreams and your goals, even if you're unsure of the outcome or the path ahead. So that's what we're talking about today. Your why. And are you clear on what this path is that you're jumping into, that you're getting ready to run along? Do you know? Or are you just jumping because you're tired and you're frustrated at work? That's a whole different situation that we need to talk about. But I really want to talk to those that are ready, that are getting ready or thinking about taking this leap. Taking the leap often involves stepping out of your comfort zone. I said this earlier, and embracing the unknown and trusting in your abilities and really trusting the Lord that he's going to catch you and do what he said. So just as faith requires trust in something beyond ourselves, taking the leap requires a similar level of trust and belief in the possibility of success, even when the journey ahead may be one that's scary, a pit that's dark and unknown. So let's get into this. Assessing readiness, y'all, is really, it's not about waiting for the perfect moment, right? That's what we just learned about taking the sleep. When you assess your readiness, it's not really about waiting for like this perfect moment to do or take the next step. It's really about recognizing the moment that you're in and making the most of the moment that you're in. So I really want to teach you a technique, a skill set around assessing, like actually assessing the need, assessing where you are. It's going to be so important to think about where you are before you decide to leap off anything. Where are you when you're standing at that ledge? Like, what questions are you exploring right now? What are you hearing in terms of your calling and your purpose? Do you even know what your purpose is and where you're going and why? You really want to think about your why. And I actually teach around a framework whenever I'm coaching. There are 6 core areas. I'm actually going to share those core areas in this podcast. But the one at the end of that, at the end of the path, when I'm coaching my clients, at the end, they're trying to fulfill their purpose, to reach the destination for which they're called. And when we talk about purpose, the way I explain it, it is a calling, like it's a spiritual calling, but really purpose kind of answers the question, like, whom do I serve and for what purpose? Like, whom do I really serve? When I think about purpose, it's like that why. It's like, why am I doing this? For me, my purpose was all about God and my relationship with him and really doing what his word said. I wanted to be free, to be able to love him and love the ones that he's put on my path. Like, I could do that anywhere, really. I can do that through this podcast. I can do that as an instructional designer, as a coach, as a consultant. And I love the fact that I now have the freedom to be able to choose however I want to do that. Serve the Lord, love his people, build my skill, do some more and serve some more. It's so freeing to know that my real calling and my real purpose is around God and what he's calling me to do. And what he's calling me, usually he's calling me to him. And I love the Lord so much because he's usually calling me to him. Like, whatever I do, he's always calling me closer and closer to draw near and near and nearer to him. So I want you to know, if you are a person of faith, this, at the end of the day, a lot of times God is going to be calling us to him to do things that's going to bring him glory. So don't be afraid if you're ready to jump off that ledge. Go ahead and get rid of any type of fear. I want you to be courageous and start to think about build your confidence in the Lord, because it is going to require an entire mindset and paradigm shift, really, in terms of like trusting and believing in what he has said. It's so different out here, trusting and believing in the Lord versus having security in a 9-to-5. So you want to make sure you're ready. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about your readiness. So think about where you are. But before we dive into all the actionable steps, let's just first understand why assessing your readiness is crucial. Okay, my number one reason is, here's the number one reason. I have 6 core reasons, 6 reasons, first of all, that I'm going to share with you around why assessing your readiness is crucial. Okay, the first one is clarity of purpose. We kind of just talked about this when we were talking about our why. You really want to gain clarity around your purpose and your goals. What are you desiring to do? And what path are you actually intending to pursue? Before you jump somewhere, you just jump down into the pit. Like, what's your purpose for doing any of this? It's not to die. So what is it, So having clarity around your purpose, it really allows you to identify what you truly want, and understand the steps that's required to actually achieve it. And so that's number one. The second one, number 2, is you have to think about your risk. There's a book I read called The Right Risk. In the book, actually, to sum it up, it talks about how risks are necessary. But you want to make sure that you take the right risk to be able to get to where you're going. And so you may want to think about risk as like identifying potential challenges that you may face, gaps that you may have in your knowledge and your skills to be able to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. You may think about, minimizing risk as areas that require like further preparation, like things that you really need to start to prepare. When I think about risk and when I was thinking about taking the leap, my immediate question was, well, what's going to happen with my bills? I have 3 children. They were in, school activities. A couple of my younger ones were in daycare. Started to process like, so how do I maintain and continue paying for my household expenses if I'm about to lose my job? If I'm about to quit my job, I'm about to transition off this job. So I had to really sit down and process what are the risks that I'm getting ready to take. What's the risk, first of all? And then what are those risks that I'm trying to eliminate in order to be able to take this leap? So, like, by addressing all of these things, like proactively, you can really minimize the likelihood of setbacks and failures. And you can eliminate having to be reactive in the moment. Like, you want to start preparing these things. So minimizing risk, that's my second thing. Number 3, you want to optimize your resources. And what this means is optimizing your resources. You really want to think about your time, your energy, and your finances. Like if you take the sleep, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but you have to now think about your time and the energy that is required to complete whatever task in a different way. You understand what I'm saying? It's different when you're working a 9 to 5 for a billion-dollar company that has a ton of resources, teams, people, systems, tools, money, all types of stuff already in place to accomplish your goals. It's easy to kind of create things in spaces like that. It is not easy to transition away from something like that and you have no resources. You have no resources. Let me just say that again. No resources. So you really want to think about optimizing the resources that you have in your hand and your finances. And you want to start to understand the strengths that you currently have in those spaces of time, energy, and finances, and the limitations that come along with that. Okay, so you want to start thinking about how you can allocate all your resources, time, energy, and money effectively, really. And so you want to be able to make like these informed decisions about where to invest your time, where to invest your resources, where to invest your time, where to invest your energy, and where to invest your money. So you want to start prioritizing and thinking about your resources differently. Okay, this is going to be crucial to do this. All right, number 4, you want to really start building your confidence. Confidence, probably, I would almost say this is the number one thing you really want to start mastering: confidence. Because a confident person, listen, they can go out here. You can jump off. If you are confident, you will jump off this leap right now. If you are confident, you will jump off this ledge right now, trusting and believing that the Lord is going to catch you. I don't need to worry about finances. I don't need to worry about no doggone goals, nothing. I am confident. I know that what he has said is true. Confidence changes everything. So confidence, you really want to start to work on your confidence right now where you are. The fact that you're even assessing your readiness actually builds your confidence. It makes you stronger. Like, it really does build confidence and self-assurance that, you know what, I've done the work. I'm prepared. I know I can jump off this thing. I know I can jump off. I can take the sleep because I've already done the work. I'm ready. By assessing and really becoming prepared around what steps you're going to take, it really does boost your confidence. Like, you feel more confident in your ability to really take on challenges and to pursue your goals when you start to prepare and start to become ready and start to think about these things as critical information to be able to take the next step in your business. Number 5 is you want to set realistic expectations. Okay, my favorite tool that I teach all my clients around setting goals and expectations are the SMART goals. And I'm pretty sure you guys have learned about this in school. You probably use them on your job right now. But realistic deals with, okay, you're not going to say tomorrow I'm going to have $1 million. While, hey, I believe the Lord can bless you with $1 million tonight. He can do it if he wants to. Let's be realistic. Like, you're working a 9 to 5 right now and you're expecting to make $1 million tomorrow when you've done no work. It doesn't work like that. And if that's your mindset already, you're looking for a get rich quick scheme, and I'm telling you, it's unhealthy and it's not the way to go. So let's avoid unrealistic or unattainable like objectives. Let's just avoid that, okay? And the sixth thing is you want to be flexible. See, assessing your readiness prepares you to really adapt and be flexible in the face of change. While you're on your job now, you should be thinking about these things, and think about all the challenges that you're facing right now. I'm telling you, all of these things that you're facing right now in your current position, they will help you navigate those unexpected obstacles and opportunities that are going to come your way. You're going to face even more challenges once you take the leap off that job. And so everything you're facing right now is not lost. It literally has purpose, even as a challenge. There's a purpose behind it. What's up, family? Coach Amy P here. Are you waking up on Mondays feeling like you are stuck in a job that you do not love? Listen, I get it. But guess what? It does not have to be that way. My coaching services, you can break free from the I hate Monday cycle and start saying, I love what I do. Imagine waking up excited for work, feeling fulfilled on purpose for your destiny, saying, I absolutely love what I do. Don't let another day go by feeling unfulfilled and uninspired. Visit CoachAmyP.com today. Matter of fact, right now, to submit your discovery session. Let's unlock your fullest potential, discover your passions, and create the career you absolutely love, whether it's on the job or off the job. I can't wait to help you on this journey. Let's get back to the episode. The Bible even talks about counting the cost. Okay, what it's really referring to is in following Jesus, but I do want to share this scripture because I believe it's helpful. In Luke 14:28-30, it says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and wasn't able to finish it. And in Luke 14:31, it says, or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? Just as a builder or a king would assess the resources and risks before embarking on a project or a battle, we must also count the cost. So how do you know if you're ready? We just talked about why readiness is important. I want to share 6 core areas that I want you to take out your journal right now. Pause this video if you must. Go get your journal. Write these 6 core areas down because I am going to share some reflection questions that you can start to ask yourself to really start to get your mind, to get your attitude, to get everything ready, your confidence built up to be able to take this leap. So listen. First thing is these are the 6 core areas. Let me go ahead and show you on the screen. Identity, belief, capability, behavior, environment, and purpose. These 6 core areas are a part of my IF framework, which I teach in my mentoring program as well as my coaching program. You will hear more about the IF model if you continue to follow me, subscribe, and all of those good things. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So when we're talking about identity, this really is dealing with self-awareness and self-reflection. And so what you want to do, I hope you have your journals. You want to take some time to assess your current situation, including your job satisfaction, where you currently are, your financial stability, and your personal goals. So I want you to ask yourself right now, I want you to ask yourself, who am I? And do I reflect that in the way that I live? That's the first question. We're talking about identity. Now, again, with this path that we're talking about, with this framework, our goal is to get you to your purpose. You're taking this leap so you can fulfill the purpose that you've been called. And while you're preparing to go ahead and take that leap and get on that path to get to purpose, we have to first understand, okay, who am I and why am I even considering doing this? So who are you? Are you currently reflecting that in the way that you live? And if not, what does that look like? Do you have a clear vision of your future? For your future, have you actually sat down and counted the cost? Have you actually sat down and visualized the future that you desire? What are your obligations currently and your responsibilities to get there? Think about that too. Are you currently fulfilled in your job? Why? Why not? These are some questions I really want you to start to ask yourself. These were the questions that I started asking myself before I took the leap. I was like, God, what are you calling me to? Why am I not happy here? And I know happiness is this conditional thing. I was pretty satisfied with the pay and things like that, but I wanted to advance in my career. I wanted to pretty much push the envelope and see how far I can go. And the second part of this path is called belief. Belief is so powerful. This is where your worldview, where your perspectives, where your habits and all of those things actually come from, your decisions. You're going to have to start asking yourself in the space of belief, why do I make the changes? Why do I make changes? Or do what I do? That's what I want you to reflect on. Like, why am I doing what I do? I know I do what I do because of my belief system. I believe certain things, therefore I behave a certain way and I take certain action steps. You're going to have to sit down and really process your belief system and why you do what you do. What do you believe? Maybe it's not time because you don't believe that it's time. Or maybe you're just having a challenge with your belief and your belief system. And I will tell you that belief controls your decision making. Process that. Sit down and really process that question. The next thing is capability. Capability is going to deal with your skills and your knowledge. And so you really want to think about, what do I need to change in order to get to where I'm going? Like, really think about that question. What is it that I need to be able to get to this next step, to be able to enter into this new season of my life? So you really want to identify your strengths. And as Marcus Buckingham likes to say, a strength is something that strengthens you. We always think that strengths are like things that you're really good at, but strengths are really things that actually make you feel strong. And the same thing for weaknesses. You want to identify your weaknesses. And again, it's something that weakens you. So think about those things. What makes you feel strong? What's something that's weakening you? Not just something you're good at or not something that you're terrible at. It's like, what makes you feel strong? What weakens you? And what areas do you need to improve in? Like, you really want to start to process these things and write these things out before you take that leap. And then you want to think about those gaps that exist in terms of your knowledge or your expertise that need to be addressed. It doesn't mean you can't take the leap. It doesn't mean that you can't do what it is that you want to do, but maybe you may not have the knowledge, but maybe someone else has the knowledge. And so maybe identifying, okay, I'll probably need an administrator, a virtual assistant. I may need someone that specializes in marketing and sales, social media, whatever, graphic design. It can be anything. You want to start identifying the gaps that you have in your knowledge and your skills so that you know the plans that you need to make to be able to either work with someone that can help advance you forward, or to be able to hire someone once you have a little bit of money to be able to bring someone on your team. So be thinking about that. And then you want to think about, how can you leverage your current skills? Like, how can you leverage your skills and your knowledge into this new space to really start to bring money in for you, to be a service or a product for you? You really want to start thinking about what skills you have, what knowledge do you have that you're going to want to put out in the marketplace. So start to assess those things in this space of capability. The next one is behavior. Listen, behavior deals with self-management. This is all about your mental health. This is all about your attitudes, your emotional state, your physical state. So you want to start thinking, okay, if my mind is not ready, if I'm emotionally unstable and can't really maintain the worry, the anxiety around even taking this leap, then I need to do some work here. I need to do some work in my mind. If my finances, when we're talking about physical and financially stability and self-management, like, what are your finances looking like? You want to evaluate your financial situation. I don't care. Listen, I have taken a leap and made the mistake the first time and was not ready financially and found myself in a hole. Taken from me. You want to evaluate your financial situation. Please do this. Do yourself a service and evaluate your situation. Create a budget to determine if you have the resources to support yourself after you leave this job. What is it going to look like in that transition period if you take the leap now? Or, like I've said before, use your job to fund your dream, guys. If you have a job, use that job to develop your skill or fund your dream job. I am not lying about this. Evaluate your financial situation. Not everybody's situation is the same. I have 3 children. And so it is not easy to jump off a job and not financially be prepared to take care of my kids. So here's what you want to consider in the space around behavior. Do you have enough to cover your living expenses during this transition? Another question is, can you reduce, any unnecessary expenses that you may have to save some money? Start to look at your budget, start to look at your finances. What can you already go ahead and start eliminating to go ahead and take that money that you would spend on something, put that aside, because now that's going to become your little nest egg to help you transition, to help you in that transition period. So think about expenses that you can reduce. You also want to think about, okay, what additional sources of income can you do to explore to supplement your finances? What I did when I made the transition, I started driving for Uber. I still drive Uber here and there to kind of fill gaps. And so Uber kind of did justice for me when I was in my transition period. It actually kind of created a second, stream of income while I was working my job. I could put that money to the side, and I had a little bit of a transition nest egg to cover my expenses while I was transitioning to kind of launch my business. And so think about additional sources of income that you can put in place to supplement your finances. And the next one is environment. Like when you're thinking about environment, you should be asking yourself right now, write this down. Where do I want to be? Am I in an environment where I can be successful? Like, where am I going to place myself in this market? Where am I entering into? Where? Where do I need to change? This is like the physical space of like, where? What's currently happening socially? Ask yourself, where do you want to be? Where do you need to change in order to kind of enter into this new space, this new environment that you're trying to go into? Who do you need to be around? Like really start surrounding yourself with support, like with a supportive network that's going to be crucial during this time of transition. You need a community of people to be able to support you and to kind of get through this transition, as it's going to be a difficult one. So you really want to seek out guidance from mentors, coaches, friends, family, whoever you can find that can offer you advice, offer you encouragement, kind of give you the ins and outs of your business. There's so much content, so many coaches and positive influences online. You want to start connecting with these spaces, people. Okay? So what I want you to consider in this space is who can you really turn to for emotional support and guidance? Like, who do you have in your circle? Who can you turn to? Start to think about those things. Are there any networking groups or communities that you can join to really start connecting with like-minded individuals? I started attending every network event. I joined the Chamber of Commerce, the Black Chamber of Commerce. I was a member of the Gathering Spot. Like I started plugging myself into these communities with individuals that the market that I desired to be in, and business-minded people that I desired to be like. I started putting myself in those situations, in those networks, in those communities where I can really grow. And I started to kind of build my knowledge and really my confidence in my space. So you really want to think about those groups and those networking groups, communities that you can also join to really build your confidence in that space and have the support you need while you're in this transition.
You're looking for that freedom, freedom, freedom.